Welcome back to another episode of the I'm Not a Hater podcast featuring your favorite not hater, Mr. Brown at this point. I hope everybody's enjoying the wonderful Sunday. The sun is shining, maybe a little cold for your taste depending on where you are in the world, but you're blessed to be alive, and that's the most important part. Before I get started with everything that we're going to talk about today, I want to say shout out to Chosen for allowing his song No Limit to be in this episode of this podcast. And artists, independent artists, if you have music that you want to be displayed on a podcast that's happening weekly, hey, feel free to send me an email. Ken B8507 at outlook.com. Hey, we trying to network and make things happen for people. You never know who's watching. You never know who's tuning into these podcasts. It may be your big break. So send me that music. If it's fire, we got you for sure. Now, issues, right? A lot been going on in the world. Kamala out here again. She's back in the world after the, unfortunate loss in the election. But my question is, or my thought is, what's going to be next for her, right? She can go and do a number of things after after the end of her vice presidency. What is she going to do next? Is she going to prep to run for 2028, or is she going to, just kind of sit it out and maybe become one of the political experts on one of the channels? Is she going to, go to law school? And be a professor? Like, what is she going to do next? And that's a big question, because as far as, looking at the landscape of Democrats coming up for the next election, you don't really see, besides herself and her running mate, I didn't see anybody that stood out to me that would be a good candidate to run for president in 2028. And knowing that the Republicans are going to have a new candidate as well, it might be a fresh start for her. And hopefully this time around, her candidacy is met with a win. And that's like going to be the biggest thing. If she does run again, people are going to expect her to, come out on top and be the first female president. I know a lot of people said they wanted Biden to resign for the last couple months and she become the president so that, Trump wouldn't be number 47. And that would be a cool idea, but I don't think they were thinking like that. I really think they thought she had it in the bag, and, hence why he hasn't resigned yet. And of course, with like a month or two left, he's not going to. You just hope that, he puts some things in place, gets the couple laws passed, and, we can move forward into the presidency of Donald Trump. And speaking of President-elect Trump, he's been appointing a lot of people to his cabinet recently. Some names stick out, like Robert Kennedy Jr., which his family being who they are and basically lifelong Democrats, that was out of left field, but they're like a bunch of people that I've never heard of before. And that could be, obviously not really paying attention to things, but what's his angle with appointing all these people that we've never heard of? Except for like Rubio, like I said, Kennedy Jr., and aside from maybe like one or two other names, he's appointing people that you've never even heard of to some pretty qualified positions, and that will make you nervous, because it's like, bro, what are you doing? Oh, Elon Musk is in too, but his cabinet position isn't a cabinet position. It's like a creative position, which is weird. So if the Democrats take over in 2028, that's going to be gone. They're going to eliminate that first. But it makes you wonder, like, what Trump got up his sleeve besides what we already know. Not looking forward to it, but looking to see how it all plays out with basically a bunch of first timers and him being the president for the second go around, how this goes. Got to put your put your hats on and be ready to go, because it's gonna be interesting times. I'll tell you that much. You know, a lot of uncertainty in the world now because he's, taking over. But you know, as long as you, like I've been saying repeatedly, as long as you, work hard and do what you can do for your family and your friends, I do believe that overall, in the end, it'll be fine. And again, if this is the way that it has to be, the establishment has to be burned down in order for a democratic type society to bring it back up, then watch it burn, folks. Those people who voted for him will find out his wrath in a few, and maybe they'll, vote wisely next time. Right? That's all you can hope for. All right. I'm gonna flip it a little bit. Talk a little bit. Excuse me. Talk a little bit of sports talk, right? So we got these basketball players who, they play 10, 12, in some cases 20 years. They have kids, right? They have sons. And then, their sons grow up. They grow right before our eyes and they play basketball as well. Besides, let me see. Besides Kobe Bryant, who is an NBA son, rest in peace to the Mamba. Besides Kobe Bryant, how come the NBA Suns don't pan out? Okay, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna give you a couple, and then I'll let you know. Right. So far, Bronny is looking like it's gonna be It's gonna be a meh for Bronny. Sharif O'Neal is in the G League. I recall. I think he's in the G League. Scottie Pippen Jr. is with the Grizzlies, but he could ball. Scottie Pippen Jr. could play. Michael Jordan's sons never even sniffed the NBA. They struggled in college, and people give them a pass because they're dad, but I don't. You picked up the ball. You should have been nice. He's the GOAT. Like, you should have been nice. Who else? Okay, Tito Horford, but Al Horford, he's got a nice solid career behind him. I'm not gonna say Al, but these younger sons, right? Zaire Wade, right? D Wade's son. He hasn't panned out. He's playing, I think, in NBA Africa or something like that, or one of the G League teams. But either way, he's not in the NBA, right? So how come they don't pan out? Is it because it's not just the dad's DNA, so the mom's DNA mixes in and they don't get the height and well, Sharif is the exception because he's like 6'10", but how come their games don't how come their games don't match up to the last name? Is it too much pressure for them? Like, what is it? Because I've been trying to figure it out. Like, in my opinion, I feel like Bronny should have went back to college. I know LeBron wanted to play with him, but it's now starting to look like that was LeBron's narrative and not Bronny's. That kid should have been at USC for another season, showed that he could score more than 5 points a game, and then, the Lakers maneuver something in the first round and get a nice pick, right? Sharif and Bronny had the same kind of heart thing, so that kind of also took away from it too. They weren't able to play as much as they wanted to, and then they went to the league. Like, your pop's influence can only get you but so far. Like, LeBron gets you in the league, but you got to be able to play. Like I said, it took Scottie Pippen Jr. a while to get where he is now. He was at the end of the Lakers bench. He was in the G League. He went to Memphis. I think he had another stint in the G League in Memphis. But he worked his way back up. He's got a Hall of Fame dad just like everybody else, but he's turning out to be, a pretty good player so far. But for every Sharif, you got Klay Thompson, you got Al Horford, Kobe Bryant. So there have been some, NBA sons who panned out. I just want to know, like, what is Bronny going to pan out, or is Bryce going to be the one to take it over? And truthfully, in my estimation, I feel like Bryce is going to be the better player. Just by watching them, Bryce is more of a scorer. Bronny's more of like a passer. He's a pass first type of player, and that's not really what the NBA is today. The NBA is really more so like a score first type of league. You got scoring guards and not really passing. So Bronny, his game is like 20, 30 years ago. Bryce is like a scorer. He's 6'6". He's got the height. He plays very well for a high school player. Looking forward to see what college he goes to at when it's his time. And if LeBron hangs on long enough to play with Bryce, since he played with Bronny already. And yeah, I didn't do too much political talk this week. I wanted to kind of spread it around. Like we know what's coming down the pike with Trump. Hopefully Kamala, her next venture or journey, maybe it'll lead her back around to the White House in some way, shape, or form. And then sports, like how come these NBA Suns don't really pan out like that? And then one last thing before I go, football season, right? I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm gonna take all the heat for whatever y'all gotta say in the comments or whatever it is. Like, I made my picks in the beginning. They haven't panned out at all. Like, yeah, it's still boo for the Eagles and the Commanders. We down there in the cellar with the Giants, but it is what it is. But we're unraveling right before the eyes of America because they talk about us more than any other team in the world. That is a gift and a curse. Like, I really do hate the fact that they talk about us and we struggling, but they talk about us when we win too. So we can't escape the media at no point. And I could say that's because we're America's team, but truthfully, we haven't been America's team since 92, 93, around that area when we had the triplets. Shout out to Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. But we suck as a team. Like, just face facts. I hate the fact that we suck the way that we do, but we do. And basically we on to next year because I don't see us making the playoffs. I really don't. But shout out to the Eagles. They probably gonna take the division if the Commanders don't, catch them sleeping. And I think everything else panned out. The Chiefs are doing what they do, undefeated. The Ravens are pretty good, right? When they pull it all together. But the Steelers are a surprise. I really didn't see that coming. So shout out to all the Steelers fans. And yeah, football season is what it is, man. It's a roller coaster all year round. Shout out to the college football season too. Is in full swing. I don't know who the number one team is. I think it's Oregon at last check. But shout out to Coach Prime and Travis Hunter and Shador and Shiloh. Colorado is rebounded from last year's 4-8 season. They're bowl eligible this year, so they're gonna be doing big things. You're gonna see way more Colorado. And hey, haters, get used to it. Prime did what he said he was gonna do. He turned them around. He brought his luggage with him. He got some kids out the transfer portal, and he, basically made it cool to go to Colorado now. I wish Kendall played football because I'd be signing him up to go to Colorado too. But peace and love, man. It's been wonderful. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this wonderful Sunday. It's out there shining bright. Enjoy it while you got the light. Daylight savings time is here, so the sun will be down at like 4:30. So enjoy it while you got the sun. I hope you guys tune in. This week we're gonna be talking about positivity. All right. And yeah, maybe I'll sneak another episode in on like Friday or something. But positivity this week. So hopefully, get your pens and your pencils out, learn something, apply it to your life. I'll be talking to you soon. Peace and love. I'm Not a Hater Podcast, signing off.